let's say you finished the video and now it's time to post it. So what's that like? What are you doing to optimize your post in terms of captions, hashtags, time of day, any of that kind of stuff, thumbnails?
I try to post like early in the day. I don't know how much it matters nowadays with the way the algorithms work, but I think it's still, better to post when your followers are up and more likely to see it on the app. And then yeah, as far as hashtags and stuff like that, I try to add a few relevant hashtags, no more than maybe 3 or 4. I honestly, I've noticed that it doesn't really make such a difference anymore. Because I mean, how many people actually follow hashtags nowadays? It's like, do you follow any hashtags on Instagram?
I
No,
do
and
Like,
not.
no one really does, you know what I mean? It's like
it seems like they don't do much anymore, except when you use big ones that you get a bunch of bots saying,
yeah,
promote this on.
exactly,
Other than that, it
exactly.
doesn't seem like it does anything.
Right. The only thing that really matters nowadays is watch time, and if people watch your whole video or most of it, then the algorithm will be like, "Oh, this is a good video. I'm going to show it to more people." If not, just kills it right there. So that's the main factor, really.
How about YouTube thumbnails? Like how much time do you spend?
I try to spend a lot of time on the thumbnail. I'm no expert on thumbnails, but that is really important when it comes to YouTube because YouTube, unlike the other platforms, people have to first click on your video. They have to see the thumbnail and the title and they have to be like, "Oh, I want to watch this," as opposed to Instagram where they're just scrolling and it'll autoplay. So yeah, you got to make an appealing, alluring thumbnail, which is a lot harder than it seems. I used to just like let YouTube auto generate a thumbnail, which is not good.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I'm constantly learning from some of those channels I mentioned earlier. So they do a lot of videos about how to make better thumbnails. So I definitely recommend checking that out. But when it comes to YouTube Shorts, which is like the TikTok thing, that it doesn't matter as much because it's like an entirely different platform. That's just people scrolling like TikTok.
Hmm.
Well, you mentioned one of the channels was vidIQ. What were some other ones that you recommend people checking out?
Channel Makers, that's the name of of a newer channel. The guy who runs it, his name is Nate, and like he's just really, really great. He'll constantly review other people's videos and explain exactly what's working. He'll do polls. He'll ask people to submit their own videos and like their retention graphs, and he'll review them and critique them and stuff. And there's so much to learn from him. So definitely recommend checking out his channel.
Do you make a habit of sort of monitoring comments in the first hour or whatever after you post something, or do you just post it and go about your life and then come back later?
I mean, I read all the comments, not just in the first hour. I don't just sit there looking, waiting for comments.
Uh-huh.
When I have time, if I have a few minutes, I'll just go on the YouTube or whatever app and read the comments, respond to questions. I always do my best to respond to everyone. I think that's super important. I see far too many creators who just like ignore their audience, which I think is a terrible idea. So definitely if someone takes the time to write something nice, then thank them. If they ask a question that you haven't already answered 1,000 times, then respond to them.
Do you rely like solely on organic reach, or do you ever put money behind boosting or even just like advertising to totally cold audiences?
I used to boost on Facebook, and I regret doing that. It's like a waste of money. I remember like looking back on my Facebook ads thing and seeing how much money I spent over the years, and like, oh my god, it's like such a waste of money because it's just not worth it. I think advertising is only worth it if you have a product to sell, so you can actually make that money back. You know what I mean? Advertising just to get views or just to get streams or whatever, it's not worth it because you're basically investing money and then not recouping it or not making any of it back. I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should rely on the algorithms and the organic reach and just figure out what the algorithm likes. Or, that's actually wrong to phrase it that way. It's what people like because that's what the algorithm shows
Yeah.
people.
Are you posting this content on Facebook as well, or do you not
No,
necessarily
I
post?
do. I do.
Okay.
Actually, Facebook introduced Reels as well. So you can post Reels on Facebook now. I've only tried a couple of them and they haven't performed super well, but I post everything on Facebook as well. I have an audience there, and I know they like seeing it there.
Does the performance, is it harder to reach people organically on Facebook compared to
It
what you're
is.
seeing? Okay.
It is, because Facebook, there's a reason why so many people have left Facebook. It's just it just became harder and harder over the years to reach your audience, and instead they just tried to do too many things at once, I think. They tried to be everything in one app, and it just became kind of overwhelming and confusing for a lot of people. And some posts still do well, but it's a lot harder to reach even your own audience than Instagram